Hello, welcome to World Tutor. In this video we are going to learn how to do one of the most common calculation with percentages. We are going to learn how to find a percent of a number. But what does it even mean? Do numbers have percent? Find a percent of a number makes more sense if you remember that a number just represents an amount, and that a percent is really just a fraction. So finding a percent of a number really means finding a fraction of an amount. Let's take 10 to represent the amount, like an amount of cookies. And let's say you're going to give 20% of the cookies to your little sister. Okay, so how many is that? How many is 20% of that amount? So 20% of 10. You are finding out how much that percent of total is. If you remember from one of our videos about multiplying fractions, we learnt that the word of is sometimes used instead of multiplication symbol. So if we say 1/3 of 20, it means 1/3 times 20. So if we have equals to times, we could say 20% times 10. How do we multiply a percent and a number together? Remember that when you see a percent written like this with the percent sign, it is an abbreviation of a fraction, in this case 20% equals 20 over 100. So our problem becomes 20 over 100 times 10. Now we have a fraction times a number, and we know how to do it. We multiply the top number, and we multiply the bottom numbers. We can just write the 10 as a fraction by putting 10 over 1. Because 10 over 1 is the exact same number as 10. Now, let's go ahead and multiply. On the top we have 20 times 10 is equal to 200, and on the bottom, we have 100 times 1 which equals 100. So our answer is 200 over 100. But we know that we can simply, and we find that 2 over 1 which is just 2. So 20% of 10 is just 2. So, to find a percentage of a number, we just need to multiply the fraction form of the percent by the number, and we have our answer. Now let's see another way of solving the problem. So, we know that a percentage can be written as a fraction, but also a decimal number. So 20% can be written as 20 over 100, but also 0.20. Let's see how we can solve the problem using the decimal number. We need to find 20% of 10. First step is to replace the word of with a multiplication symbol. Next, we replace the percent with the decimal form. So 20% with 0.20. All we have to do is multiply 0.20 times 10. We easily get 2 as you can move the dot one space to the right, which is the same result that we get when we use the fraction 4. So, that's how you find a percent of a number. You just multiply the number by either the fraction form or the decimal form of the percent. Either way gives you the right answer, so choose whichever is easier for you. Now let's see more examples before you practice by your own. We want to calculate 35% of 80. Let's start by replacing the with the time symbol. Now, I need to decide if we want to replace the 35% with fraction form or decimal form. Let's use the decimal form. So 35% is equal to 0.35. Now we just need to calculate 0.35 times 80. Using the calculator we get 28. You saw that when calculating the percentage of a number we get a number smaller than the number we start with. But this is the case with the proper fraction. Sometimes, we can also get an improper fraction, which is greater than 1. And in percentage they are greater than 100%. Let's see some examples. Let's say that we want to calculate 120% of 20. As you can see, 120% is greater than 100%. How do I solve this? Well, it is the same procedure. Let's see it together. First step, we replace the with the time symbol. Second step, we need to decide to use the fraction form or decimal form. This time let's use the fraction form. 120%, so we get 120 over 100. Third step, we replace the 20 in fraction form, so 20 over 1, which is exactly equal to 20. Fourth step, we do the multiplication, 120 times 20, which is equal to 2,400 over 100 times 1, which is equal to 100. Now, we have got 2,400 over 100, which can be written as 24. So, we can see that 120% of 20 is 24, which is greater than our starting number 20. Now, let's do more examples so that you can practice. 25% of 20. 120% of 400. 5% of 25. Now pause the video and try to do it by yourself. Okay, let's start with the first one, 25% of 20. First step, replace of with the time symbol. Second step, choose the fraction form or decimal form for the percentage. In this case, let's use fraction form again. So 25% equals 25 over 100. Then, 20 can be written as 20 over 1. Third step, do the multiplication. 25 times 20 over 100 times 1. So, 500 over 100. Fourth step, simplification. 500 over 100 can simplified into 5. So, 25% of 20 is 5. Second example, 120% of 400. First step, replace of with the time symbol. Second step, choose the fraction form or decimal form for the percentage. In this case, let's use decimal form. So 120% is equal to 1.20. We move the dot 2 places to the left. Third step, we do the multiplication, 1.20 times 400. Using the calculator, we get 480. 480 is greater than 400, that makes sense as 120% is greater than 100%. So our final number 480 is greater than our initial number, 400. Last example, 5% of 25. First step, replace of with the time symbol. Second step, choose the fraction form or decimal form for the percentage. In this case, let's use fraction form again. So 5% equals 5 over 100. Then 25 can be written as 25 over 1. Third step, do the multiplication. 5 times 25 over 100 times 1. So 125 over 100. Fourth step, simplification. 125 over 100 can simplified into 5 over 4. So 25% of 20 is 5 over 4. Okay, that's all for today. Good luck and see you in the next video.